We start off this morning talking about the budget mid-year review. As I mentioned, the finance minister is going to be delivering this tomorrow in Parliament, starting just about 1:30 in the afternoon. And we're going to hear what he has to say based on what has taken place with respect to the budget as was presented to us last year, and to hear as well what he hopes will be happening. And of course, we will have our own opinions as well. But to discuss this in more details with us this morning, Ancel St Hilaire. Good morning to you once again, sir.
Nice to be here.
Political analyst and also of the UE Open campus. 2017, that's the year we're in, and it's time for the mid-year budget review. What is your opinion on what has taken place so far with respect to what was presented in the 2016-2017 budget?
Really and truly, very much has not been observed. People would normally judge a government's performance by projects, things coming on stream, employment generation, and that kind of economic activity. We cannot say there has been very big projects hitting the ground. You see some infrastructure works taking place. I know the extension and the highway is on. There are a few housing development projects on. We haven't seen anything dynamically significant within agriculture, which is where we want to see some traction take place. And overall, I think we are just holding steady, not taking risk, and hoping for better things, hoping for better prices within the energy sector, so that then we can get some more monies to take off. As well, though, the government has said that they would be restarting the Point Fortin Highway and should get on stream with the road infrastructure projects with respect to the Valencia to Toco and down south going to the Rio Claro area. So if those come on stream, I suppose those are the main projects they're looking at for the second half of the year.
But it could be said too, because you said that not much was done with respect to the economy and creating jobs and that sort of thing. In fact, it's been the opposite, where we found that more jobs have been lost over the last few months till now. So where does that leave us?
There have been job losses. I would put it as marginal. We haven't had massive layoffs. In fact, you go to the malls, you go to Price Mart, you drive along the corridor, you drive along the avenue, and people are there busy engaging in commerce. So there hasn't really been massive layoffs, although in the political arena, that message seems to be coming through, but we haven't had massive layoffs. And I think one thing the government can be credited for is for keeping the public service steady. We haven't had massive layoffs there. There may have been some attrition, workers leaving by way of attrition. And then what they have tried to do by way of cutting costs is by not renewing certain contracts and so on. Unemployment still hangs at about 4.3, moving on to 5 or 4 to 5%, which really is a safe zone with respect to economic outlook. So, but what people want to see is a generation of more activity, because economic activity is what, by the multiplier effect, has money running through the economy and people able to engage in fruitful commerce and that kind of thing.
So what do you think needs to be done? We're into the basically first 6 months mid-year from the 2016-2017 budget. What do you think needs to be done? What do you think the government needs to focus on?
Yeah, and normally when a government sets its public sector investment program, which indicates the kind of development projects it's going to be involved in, they used to say that they're waiting on the dry season to kick them off. But the dry season has ended, and not much has started. At least what, well, yes, they have indicated that they're going to restart the Point Fortin Highway, and they have indicated that they want to start at both ends of the strip, so they're going to have activity at the Point Fortin end and at the, you know, some housing projects are also in the pipeline. There is anticipated more gas coming on stream, and gas prices are kind of holding steady and even tilting upwards. So there is some anticipated healthy revenue flows anticipated here. And I think that would then act as a medium to kickstart more economic activity. Yes, we want to see more take place in agriculture. And I am really somewhat disappointed here, because I think agriculture stands as a low-hanging fruit. There are things that can happen in the short run rather than having long gestation periods. And I think enough hasn't happened there. And I think with respect to those Caroni lands, I think the ideal projection for that sector was to get those ex-farmers to develop into cooperatives and get involved in the indigenous growth production. I mean, to think that we still import tomato paste, and obviously I think the pizza market still uses imported pineapples, and you know, and these are areas that we can really get farmers, you know, getting into production and getting agriculture further stimulated. And I think that has been sad. Now the PSIP for 2016 was 7 billion. They dropped it to 4 billion this year. So obviously the government is moving cautiously. I took a glimpse at some of the pre-budget activity where they're looking at the estimates. And now here you would want to see if there's anticipated further inflows of revenues, then the government would then indicate increases to particular sectors. What I kind of observed is that they are shifting monies from slow growth sectors into sectors where they want to see more things happen. And that is probably one option that they have. But that has to be carefully done. As Standard & Poor's and Moody's warned, too much of government's revenue is being spent on subsidies and transfers. So government has to endeavor to put more of its revenues into growth projects, into development projects. There's also a worry with respect to loans, debts being used for recurrent expenditure rather than being used for investment projects. And so you'd want to think that we should hear announcements with respect to new projects that are going to generate growth, generate income, generate employment. And most likely they should come from agriculture, from infrastructure development, roads, bridges, and that kind of thing, and from other development projects within other ministries.
Do you think that the focus is still too strong on the energy sector as well, and the hope that gas prices are going to steadily go up and go up to a certain point?
Well, I mean, that's a hope we will want to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it is our front-running sector. We have to stay there. We have to try and build on it, though, by going downstream. And hope is that with better gas prices and new gas finds coming on the way, things like that aluminum project may get on the way, where the plan is to use ingots now, not the raw alumina. Use ingots and then use our energy to convert that into aluminum projects, aluminum products. Now that's the old PNM project which should have come on stream way back in 2010. So if that should get off stream, because a multiplicity of products can come out of that, steel rims, car parts, and those kind of things, and that can generate room for export. And that's where we need to look at projects and production activity that is going to generate foreign exchange inflows. And that is where the government has to look at the financial sector. There's been a lot of talk about financial services sector, attracting other international banks to set up agencies here. And that has slowed, and that we hope can be re-accelerated. As well, the e-tech parks should be stimulated to have entrepreneurship and private sector partnerships get involved in getting projects off the ground.
Now, you're talking things that are more long-term solutions to the economic situation that we're in. But what are some of the short-term ones that we can look at, simply because we are in a situation right now? It may not seem that way, the way that some Trinidadians are still spending, they're still enjoying a high life. It's almost like it hasn't really hit them yet. So what are some of the short-term projects you think the government should undertake?
Yeah, in recessionary times, most economies, as a short-term measure, go into infrastructure development by way of immediate stimulation of economic activity. So the construction sector, which has been kind of in a sleep, needs to be kick-started now.
And then apparently there's still monies owed as well.
Well, that's another sour point. So within the construction sector, if they can get housing projects going, roads and bridges, there are some capital projects, the Red House renovation and things like that, some other housing projects. I know for the Lupino Bonne area, for some areas in South and so on. When construction gets going, the multiplier effect of that is really tremendous. Starts with the hardwares, with the skilled workers of all categories. It continues with women supplying meals and other services to the workers. It really generates economic activity which multiplies throughout the economy and stimulates growth. So that, I think within the short run, that's one area that they can really target. Agriculture too, there are things that can happen in the short run in agriculture. I'm really kind of surprised that we're not hearing more here as to what is really going there. I know on the page projects with respect to like the mega farm project, for instance, like the project to stimulate local agricultural produce to feed into the school feeding program and that kind of thing. Those are things that can happen in the short run. And I don't think they have been on the front burner.
Now, with respect to agriculture, I mean, we keep talking about agriculture as a major aspect of diversifying the economy. So I'm going to throw this question out to you. Do you think that Trinidad and Tobago can, in fact, sustain itself alone, sustain itself, as in Trinidad and Tobago, with agriculture, sustain itself and also have exports as well? If we really develop the sector, if we really seriously take the sector seriously?
And I think that's one way to go. As typical small island states, yes, we have been blessed with energy and the energy sector. But the energy sector at its peak would not employ more than 6,000 to 7,000 people. So you still have a bit of your population that are going to be unemployed. Agriculture and indigenous agriculture, in fact my doctoral work is going to be based partly on indigenous agricultural production, using cooperatives as a driving force to get into indigenous agriculture and even into herbal agriculture.
Okay.
You know, the herbal industry is really thriving. And it's a substitute for hardcore pharmaceuticals, which a lot of people are turning to.
Yes.
And that is an area that can flood the market and get room for export. Our tamarind, our pommes our jellies and jams. These are things that can hit the European markets. Because they are indigenous, they are exotic, and we have always gotten favorable responses from the international markets. So those are areas where I think in the short term, and I think the technological knowledge is there. There's a lot of research out of UE and Kareri, whereby these things can be can move from primary stage into secondary stage, where products can be produced that would be very attractive to the international market. And that's a window of opportunity that I think we have been sleeping on as a means of stimulating agriculture.
All right. Thank you so much, Ancel St Hilaire, political analyst, and of course, UE Open Campus, for sharing your thoughts with us as we look forward tomorrow to hear what's going to be happening in the budget review, the mid-year budget review tomorrow, 1:30 in Parliament.
Of course, wanting to slip in quickly, sport and entertainment.
Yes.
Those are areas where they can trigger activity.
Yes,
and in the short run,
generate
really
revenue.
attract foreign exchange.
Thank you.